Now let's build out our Enqueue method. Enqueue is when we add someone to the line. Except our line is going to look like this. And we're going to add that 7 node into our queue. That's what it's going to look like if we have one or more items in our queue. If we don't have any items in our queue, we're going to set first and last equal to that new node. And as we have discussed, we're going to be able to borrow heavily from the push method from the linked list. So if you want to code this, you could start by looking at the push method to get an idea of what you're going to do here. The best thing to do is try to code this from scratch. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the code here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this from being push to enqueue. And the first thing we'll do in this method is to create a node like that. And if the length equals 0, in other words, we have an empty queue, we're going to set first and last equal to the new node. So that would be a queue that looks like this, and we'll have first and last point to that node. Then we'll say else, and this is for if we have one or more items. Then we'll have these two lines of code. I'm going to focus in on these two like this. That first one, last.next equals new node. We'll do that. And then last equals new node. We'll point that last pointer over to the new node. And that adds that into the queue. Now let's put this code back in with the rest of our code. We will increase the length by 1. And then we'll return the entire queue. So that's all of our code for this. We'll look at this in a moment in DevTools. And when we do, we're going to create this queue. Then we're going to enqueue a node with the value of 7. Then we'll look at our queue to make sure that last is pointing to the value of 7. Okay, so let's flip over to DevTools. And there is our enqueue method. And there's the queue that we're going to build, 11.3.23. I'm going to run this. And it returns our queue. I'll just open this up, take a quick look. First is pointing to 11, and last is pointing to 23. Then I'll clear this. Then I'll say myqueue.enqueue with the number 7. Now let's open this up, and last is pointing to the value of 7. Okay, so it looks like we have a working method for enqueue.